Hey, friend.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I missed you. How are you?
I know, I missed you too. It's been a long time since we've had a conversation like this.
It has been.
With that being said, there's been a lot of things that have happened in the world.
Yeah, a ton. We've got
Ton, yeah.
a lot of topics to choose from.
Right? We have so many things that we need to cover. And as such, we sort of had to take a break too because we grown women and we have our own lives that we're living. And so that's why people haven't seen us in a little while.
So
But
true.
we're back, and I know that in our private conversations, we've been talking a lot about how women are being treated in this modern age as we see stories of femicide and family annihilation happening and whatnot.
Hmm.
And it's just so sad, so difficult.
Yeah.
But today we're going to chat about Miss Lindsay Clancy and her trial and those circumstances, which you put on my radar, friend. I wasn't really following until you said something to me. So, do you want to give a little summation about who Lindsay Clancy is?
Absolutely. So Lindsay Clancy, she was a labor and delivery nurse in Duxbury, Massachusetts. She was married to her now ex-husband, Patrick Clancy, and they had three beautiful children together. Cora was 5, Dawson was, I believe, 3, and Callan was 8 months old. Um, Beautiful babies. And they were living a seemingly normal, happy life, all American family. And on January 23rd of 2023, Lindsay Clancy asked her husband to go and get some children's Miralax, I believe it was, or that type of medicine. I can't remember the exact name brand, but
Stool softener. Yeah.
yes, stool softener. That the reason I'm touching on that is because it is a big topic of conversation right now because everybody's talking about every detail. Um, but anyway, so she sends him to get some stool softener. She sends him to get food from a restaurant called 3V. Um, when he comes home, he describes coming home to a completely silent house, which was very odd when you have, three young children. Calls out for them, cannot find them, notices that his bedroom door is locked. He unlocks the door, goes in, and sees blood everywhere. He sees that the bedroom window is open and looks down and sees Lindsay outside on the ground in the snow, runs down and asks her what happened. And she said that she tried to take her life. And he asked her where the kids are. And she said in the basement. He's on the phone with 911 as this is, or he's starting to call 911, gets on the phone with them. He goes to the basement when 911 arrives and finds all three children strangled. And sorry, that's as a mom, that's tough to even think
It's
about. But
super tough, super, super difficult to even imagine.
yes.
You are
Uh,
so well versed on all of these details. You remember the dates, the names of the restaurants. I mean, I knew general details, but I can tell that you have been following this for a while. And thank you so much for that summary.
yeah,
Um, so I think it's really important that we clearly define what this trial has been about because I was one of the people who was under the impression that this trial was about like her guilt or innocence in her
mhm,
unaliving her children, but in actuality that's not what it is. The trial is about whether or not she was suffering from postpartum psychosis.
correct. If she was sane when she committed this crime. And so yeah, at the end of the day, Lindsay Clancy is either going to prison or going to be in mental institution for the remainder of her life. Though that's either or outcome for her at the end of this trial. The reason that they are claiming postpartum psychosis is because they have many, many medical records and testimonies showing that Lindsay from the time, they're really focusing on the time frame of September to January. So
Mm-hmm.
um, that is the report from Patrick. He reports that around September is when it started, when she started to struggle with, um, depression, with really bad insomnia. In his
Mm-hmm.
testimony, he reports there were periods of time where she was on the couch just banging her head into her hands. She was getting, 2, maybe 3 hours of sleep a night if she was lucky. And there were times that she actually even had gone and slept in the basement because she just thought maybe it would help her get better sleep to be, sleep in a bed by herself. Or that she was up so much, her insomnia was bugging her, and Patrick had to work. So, she just was sleeping in the basement for a while. She, according to Patrick's testimony, had actually even reported to him that she at one point was suffering with thoughts of suicide, and she also had thoughts of harming the children, and that was very disturbing to her. So make no mistake, Lindsay Clancy reached out for help, not just to her husband, but to multiple medical providers on multiple occasions. That includes going to a psychiatrist, outpatient psychiatrist, seeing a therapist, even checking in to inpatient. I believe it was 4 days, 4 nights, around there, calling a suicide hotline and reaching out to friends and family. So, there is no lack of evidence that Lindsay Clancy was struggling severely, in my opinion.
So, one thing that I did not know about her was that she was a labor and delivery nurse. I did
Yes,
not know that that was her job.
yes. And her daughter, Cora, is actually named after the first baby that she gave birth to. Yeah.
That's sweet. So being that she worked in labor and delivery, that means that she would have also been very familiar with what signs to look out for with a postpartum mother that might indicate that that mother is suffering from anxiety, depression, psychosis, some sort of a disorder. She would have been
Hmm.
familiar with that. And so I believe that she would have been able to recognize in herself that she wasn't feeling right. And I believe that she would have voiced that to everybody that she could, because I think it probably would have alarmed her. Just my opinions and observations on this. But while you were speaking, I actually went I went and looked up like what medications she was given. This
Hmm.
list is ridiculous. So starting in September 25th, 2022, sertraline, that was given by her doctor, Jennifer Tufts. Then the same doctor, about a month later in October, lorazepam, which, gosh, I don't even know what this stuff is. I'm assuming these are all like antipsychotic drugs.
Antipsychotics, SSRIs, and then, yeah, types of Valium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's primarily the types of medications those are.
Hydroxyzine,
Hmm.
lorazepam, buspirone, trazodone, fluoxetine, zolpidem, mirtazapine. Like she was getting, like in November, she got medication November 2nd, November 9th, November 16th, November 21st, November 25th, again, November 25th. Again, she got three different medications on November 25th alone.
Hmm. And I think it's important to note, just to be objective here, she was not on all of those medications at one time at any certain point. And I think it's also important to note though that those medications, just because you're not taking them all at the same time, does not mean that they're not affecting you. Those medications, they take a little while to start working, and they stay in your system. They don't just get out of your system the day you stop taking them. And typically, if
Right.
you stop taking them, your doctor's going to recommend that you wean yourself off of them. So you're not, again, just going cold turkey off a medication. So she very well could have been weaning off of one while starting another. They were doing a lot of trial and error to find what was best for her. And Lindsay also, it's been expressed in the medical records that she was very concerned. She really wanted to do this naturally. She really was concerned about taking medication and becoming reliant on it. So she did get, prescribed some meds and then was a little reluctant to take them at first. So that's something that, the DA is making a really big point out of. They have all the pill bottles and they're, asking, Patrick Clancy, well, were you aware that this pill bottle has quantity 30 but only has 7 missing? And, Patrick does make it a point to even point out that yes, but they were doing trial and error with medication. So just because she only took 7 of those pills, it doesn't mean that, they could have changed her to a higher dose of the same pill. Um, you know, so that is another big argument right now amongst all of the followers of this case is, how could she have been in psychosis when, yes, that's a lot of medications prescribed, but how could she be in psychosis if she was only on 3 or so at a time? Well, 3 antipsychotics or SSRIs or whatever at a time is still a lot.
That sounds like a whole lot.
Yeah. And 2, yeah, as I previously stated, to me, and I'm not, I am not a medical provider, but just from my own experience with SSRIs, and, the small understanding I have from talking to my mom, who's a nurse practitioner, about this, that is how those medications work. They're not going to just get out of your system right away.
Mm-hmm. I was prescribed some medication years ago for my anxiety. And I had to take it for a minimum of 6 weeks before my doctor could even give me any sort of suggestions on my dosage, before we could adjust anything. And I only made it about 4 weeks before I was like, okay, enough is enough. Because it felt like the medication was interrupting my life in ways that were just making my anxiety worse. And so it was very hard for me to stay committed to taking it because it didn't feel like my world was coming together better. It felt like my world was unraveling more when I was taking this. And I don't even remember which one it was. I want to say maybe it was the lorazepam one that I'm seeing on this list here. But either way, I bring that up to say that medication is not as easy as, get prescribed something, go to the pharmacy, get it, take it. Okay, everything's better now. Like, it doesn't work that way. It takes a long time to figure out what your dosage should be. And even then, after you and your doctor settle on what a dosage is for you, that might have to change if something else in your life or your body changes.
Yeah.
So, I think that people who take medication for like anti-anxiety, antidepressants, those kinds of things, I really feel like I want to shoot those folks some bail because I feel like they get labeled as people who are taking the easy way out, and medication is not not in my experience, it's not the easy way out at all. It's challenging and requires patience on another level, in my opinion.
I agree. And the stigma around it alone, it's just really hard, internally to when you recognize or decide with a doctor that, you possibly need these medications. One, especially for people I feel like from our generation who we were raised on, you just tough it out. You just tough it out. And I mean, going to therapy when I was younger was really looked at as, like, ooh, she's a crazy person. And,
Right.
So just dealing with that stigma alone in your own head, let alone that fear of anybody finding out you're on it or whatever. I know for me, someone who I take Wellbutrin, that's mine. And that was actually one they prescribed Lindsay. And but it works for me. I went through my own trial and error of lots of different SSRIs as well. And, so that's part of why this case really, I guess, stuck out to me as well. I mean, there's so many reasons, it's sticking out to myself and a lot of people, but that was one of them is going through that experience myself and feeling so outside of your body and feeling so scared and feeling, going back and forth between, well, you know what? if this makes me feel this much worse, like it's supposed to help me get better. And if it's not helping me get better and now I'm dealing with all these side effects, what's the point of taking the meds? And you get
Yeah.
so discouraged. And
Yeah.
while all of that is going through your head and you're going through this process, you're also trying to be a mom and a wife and, not let um, the people in your world see how bad it really is inside your head right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, it's just something that is hard to even accept that you need to do. And then, yeah, sticking it out to get to that point of finding out if A, meds are right for you, and B, which one is right for you. It's a very hard process to go through, and especially if, you don't have the right support.
Mm-hmm. I always tend to have a soft spot in my heart for women who suffer through postpartum depression or psychosis, any sort of affliction after they have their baby, because I went through postpartum depression with my first child and it was brutal.
Mm,
It was brutal. The feeling of inadequacy while also feeling like it's very important that I be present and attentive right now because my baby needs me. Like that, I remember feeling caught between those two worlds and just feeling so inadequate and beside myself and just confused on how to find a way forward. And I think that one message that I would like for women to take away from listening to us today is this idea that, like, you really got to let go of this picture perfect, I can do everything. I mean,
mhm.
and I can do everything presents in different ways. It presents overtly like, yes, I can do everything and I have it all together. But it also presents as never letting your friends come over and see your house because you're ashamed, because you feel like your house is never clean enough, never presentable enough, all the things. It's never meeting up with your friends who invite you out for coffee or for lunch or anything like that because you don't want to have to sit there and talk about how miserable you are, or you just don't want them to see you. You don't feel like getting yourself together. Like, I can do it all looks very different in different scenarios, and all of them are terrible. Like, I want women to
Mhm.
break up with all of them because even if even if you do everything right, okay? The kids are fed, they're clean, their hair is done, they've got on nice outfits, the house is spotless, dinner is prepared, it's your husband's favorite, your waist is a teeny tiny size two. Even if you do all of those things, do you think no one will criticize?
Exactly.
Do you think
Exactly.
no one will point out that, hey, you have a zit or your hair's out of place? You think no one's going to have criticisms for you? Like, the criticism is going to be there no matter what. So why are we continuing to sign up for all this backbreaking nonsense? Like, I that's the part that I need to stop. That I want to see that
Agreed.
stop.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, really, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Someone's always going to have something to say about it. And if you're always listening to what someone has to say and trying to adjust your life according to that, you're going to go insane. Um,
Yes. All
it's,
the time, like 9 times out of 10, like you're gonna go insane trying to make these people happy, these people who don't even live in your house.
yeah, yeah,
Or maybe they do live in your house and they still don't want to give you grace. That's still not, I mean, that's a whole other beast in and of itself. Which I guess we can talk about that part, because I also need women to be more realistic with their husbands.
And so that's what I was gonna say is talking about living in the house and Lindsay, let's talk about who was living in her house.
Okay. So besides the three beautiful children,
Yes.
she
So
also
Patrick.
has her husband Patrick, well, now her ex-husband Patrick. And so do you know what he does?
Patrick, I believe he's in tech, is what he
Okay.
said. He didn't really go into details of what his exact position is. I know he works from home and has since 2018, I believe. Um,
Okay.
And
Mighty
so,
convenient.
yes, yes. So Patrick, now let's go ahead and get out of the way. There are many allegations flying around right now that Lindsay didn't even do this, that it is possible, as evidence is coming out, that Patrick did. It is I don't want to say fun. I don't want to say fun because that's weird to say something fun is, but like I enjoy speaking about the case with you. And when I see those allegations, sharing those things and us kind of theorizing of like, well, is that possible? With that said, as it stands, um, Lindsay is not, I mean, as we said, she's pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. She's not saying that, oh, I didn't do this. In fact, they have even signed stipulations saying that we can go ahead and breeze right past interviewing all the cops and all that. We don't even need, I don't know why y'all are walking us through every single bit of the DNA evidence and the police procedures and all that, because we're not trying to fight anything about the police processes. Yes,
Right.
this happened. So again, there are a lot of theories, and I do see why people have questions. I really do. But
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna focus more on Patrick's involvement in this, as what type of husband he was, and how helpful or not helpful he was in that time frame that Lindsay was suffering specifically. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, because you're more familiar with case details, did Lindsay describe Patrick as an involved father and husband? Was he super helpful and supportive, or was he kind of like, oh, well, that's your area because you're better at this?
So yeah, I mean and we don't hear much from Lindsay, but from what Lindsay's attorney is he, yes, says Patrick was a very supportive husband. I'm guessing he's getting this information from Lindsay. Um
Mm-hmm.
and I believe they have him on the witness list. He's already testified for the DA. I believe he was subpoenaed to do that, but I believe he is
Mm-hmm.
also on the witness list to testify for the defense. So, when they were interviewing him for his testimony, in my opinion, it did seem that he was really trying to, make it clear that he believes Lindsay was very sick and needed help. Um, I also think it's important to note, though, that he is suing all of her medical providers in a civil suit for medical malpractice. And the
Okay.
amount that he could potentially win, has not come out yet. I don't know if they're waiting on that because they may have to wait for this trial, or I don't know what the deal is with that, but I know he is suing those providers for medical malpractice. So there are,
Okay.
people claiming, well, of course he has to seem supportive that she was really ill, and the medical providers failed her because it's going to affect his civil suit. That's what he's suing for. Patrick Clancy, I find it interesting that he's going to be coming out of this with money from a civil suit, all the equity from the home he sold, and I
Mm.
believe there was a GoFundMe that he got like a mill out of.
What
So
did he need a GoFundMe for?
to help him with his time off from work, to grieve his children and all that. Although 4 months after his children were unalived, he moved to New York, and he reportedly was dating his now wife. 4 months. 4 months, friend. Now,
4 months.
four. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody how they're allowed to grieve. I do find it very wild, though. 4 months after all three of your children are unalived by your wife, who is in a mental institution and is paralyzed now,
Mm-hmm.
you're dating someone new. It is I just personally, I don't understand at all. Again, I don't want to tell someone how to grieve, but I just, in my own head, I just don't understand how you can move on that quickly from that situation.
Yeah, so Patrick Clancy, ex-husband of Lindsay Clancy, has remarried fertility specialist Dr. Rachel Dennis in New York City.
Who's now pregnant.
Right. That's what I was going to say too. So all of this stuff that we're talking about with Lindsay and the kids, this occurred in January of 2023.
Yes.
Okay. So 2023 is when all of these things happened, and then we got the trial in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, Rachel married Pat. Here, I found a story. Let me just share. So I found this from Hindustan Times, dated for today's date, actually. But this was published yesterday on August 8th. Dr. Rachel Dennis, 5 things to know about Patrick Clancy's new wife amid Lindsay Clancy murder trial. So, here they are together. Well, not together, but, here's him. This is how he looked in all of the footage that I saw of the trial that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
She looks swell, got a great career. I think it's interesting that she also works in like OB type stuff,
Yes.
That's an interesting coincidence. But okay,
I thought so too.
She's 37, reproductive endocrinologist and infertility specialist, an NYC-based reproductive clinic. So this all happened in Boston, is that right?
Yes. The crime happened in Boston. They were living in not Boston, in Duxbury, Massachusetts, which is very close to Boston.
Okay, so like a suburb of Boston, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. And so he relocated from there to New York. And then he got with this woman, and now they are married and they're having a kid. She serves as an assistant clinical professor in obstetrics, gynecology, and reproductive. Okay. A friend of the couple described her personality to the Daily Mail, saying she is upbeat, smiling, vivacious, and full of energy. It's fitting that she helps create life in the face of this tragedy. Wow. Yikes on trikes. Rachel has a heart of gold. If she can take a guy and try to heal him, that's what she would do. Brother. Oh, no. Ladies, stop making projects out of these men.
You cannot
okay?
fix him. No, you can't.
No, just stop it. You are not a rehabilitation center. Stop trying to. No. Rachel married Patrick in April 2026, and now they live in Midtown. Rachel's mother, Sue, gave her blessing to the marriage. What the hell does that mean? In messages sent to friends after the wedding, she described Patrick as a really nice guy and wrote about her daughter. I hope it all goes well for her. Okay. And I just want to be clear about something else, too. I'm not here to villainize Rachel. That's not what this is about.
No.
Rachel's just trying to live her life, and she probably got excited that she met a man that was interested in her, and they fell in love, and now she's having this baby. Like, I'm not trying to rain on her parade necessarily, but holy shit.
Yes. Now, important to note too, and this, really, because all going back to what kind of husband was Patrick to Lindsay, especially in her time of need. He's reported as this supportive husband, but things that are being pointed out is he went to New York actually for 2 nights while his wife was, I believe it was when she was checked into the, when she had gone, they took her on New Year's Eve of 2022 going into 2023. They took her, that's when they took her to the ER. And when the DA asked Patrick, why did you bring her to the ER? And I did find this, just the way he said it, he said, because I was exhausted. And it just sounded like he was just really ready for her to get better. Like, okay, we've been dealing with this postpartum for a while. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Just the way he said it, that was just a note in my head personally. It takes her to the ER, and they, have her check into a women's mental health facility. And I believe this is when, and I need to fact check, but I believe that was when he went and spent 2 nights in New York. So it's the timeline is interesting that he spent 2 nights in New York while his wife was suffering postpartum and these mental health issues. 4 months later, after this happens, he moves to New York and is now married to a woman from New York. The timeline doesn't make him look good.
Hi, ladies. Now more than ever, women need safe spaces where they can have conversations with each other, where they can share resources and support each other, and even where they can grieve together. And I'm creating space for this over on my Patreon. So if you decide to join over there, you'll get access to my content sooner than when I upload it to YouTube. You'll get full episodes, nothing getting cut off in the middle. And you'll also have invitations to monthly virtual events happening over there, events that are designed around helping women to stay happy, healthy, safe, and supported. So if that interests you, then click the link that's in the description of this video and I will see you over on my Patreon.